Oh, no, not you. Becky looked at me and she's like, shush. She's like, I can't. Oh, yeah. We'll start at 9 and we'll go about an hour or so. No,
Okay.
we'll go.
Even if we get an hour, because that stream wasn't even an hour.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit of tower talk and then we'll go into the stream and maybe 45 minutes. Because the stream wasn't long at all.
Hot?
Yeah, I'm always hot. But that.
Oh, dude!
Huh?
Once again, after we had the thing on the Facebook page, Kevin messaged me. He's like, "Are you sure y'all aren't fighting, man?"
Which one?
Kevin.
Oh, when I was calling you a dirty mark? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "No, Kevin, we're not fighting. You don't understand our dynamic."
I like how they take everything we say so seriously.
It's funny, dude.
It is pretty funny.
I try not to get into it too much with them because they're like the markiest marks in the world.
Are they really? I don't really pay attention to a whole lot they say.
Like that Robert dude. I don't know the Robert dude personally, but he
really is. He's a pretty hard mark.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live, but we still have like 2 minutes, so we need to start.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna ditch the whole. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Rich.
I was gonna say I'm gonna ditch the whole Eyes Up Guardian thing.
Aw, I love it.
It sounds corny.
It doesn't.
It doesn't sound
corny.
it doesn't sound corny.
I think it sounds corny.
Your baby wants.
What would you replace it with?
You're tuned in to the official podcast for the Twin State Guardians.
No, you can't just start it like that. Like Trey says, "What's up?" Or what do you say?
I say.
What do you say at the start of Twin Stick Radio? You're listening.
Yeah, you're listening.
But when he says "you're," he sounds like he's drunk every
You're
time.
listening to Twin Stick Radio.
Yeah, it literally sounds like you're drunk every time you say "you're listening." Yeah. Every single time.
You know what? I'm doing my best with the life that I have, and I can't ask for much more.
And if I fill that life with copious amounts of alcohol,
I wish, man, I can afford copious amounts of alcohol.
Yeah,
I like,
but it really does sound like you're drunk every time you say "you're listening" because you're listening.
Well, because it's
and then you get clear.
Well,
no,
you are listening just sounds dumb because no one says you are, and "your" is a weird word because sometimes like you say it and it combines with other words, so it's like you're listening. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. Also, like, I don't have to say that anymore because now it's like, hey, you might be listening or you might be watching or...
Yeah, now it's, are we live?
Yeah.
Wait, can I talk?
Are we live? This is Twin Stick Radio. We can probably start now.
Whoa. Are you using Sunshot, Rich? Or are you using Sunshot?
Yeah.
I just saw things explode. The 45 seconds for this thing to start.
Also, I don't think you need to call it a podcast because right now it's not a podcast. It's a vodcast, but vodcast is a dumb word.
No,
yeah, it's a hipster word.
No, it's a podcast, dude. Podcasts are moving to video format anyway, so it's a podcast.
True. Okay, let me know when to start, Trey. Give me a countdown.
Well, we're live, so you can start.
Oh. Okay, I'll say it one more time, and if I don't like it, then I'll switch next week.
But you're not going to like it, so you're going to switch anyway, because you already said you don't like it.
Yeah, you mark.
You don't even know what that means.
Trey.
It's market something. It's about appealing to the market, and the people who fall for that trick are the market, so they suck. Right?
Pretty much. You're kind of there. You're kind of there.
I'm learning.
It's not really falling for anything. It's just they choose to suspend all disbelief in wrestling. I think that's a better way to put it. They choose to accept anything that the company throws at them.
That was close.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna start now.
Don't start yet, guys.
Oh.
Okay.
Babe, can you do the Wi-Fi for your mom? I don't want to say it I don't want to say our password.
I'm going live, dude. But not yet. Testing. Yeah, because Trey's testing stuff because he's streaming from his PC now instead of the PlayStation.
We moved on up a level.
Yeah, we're moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Oh wow, we didn't trigger the heroic.
Oh, someone wasn't doing their job.
Good, one job.
Seriously, let's freaking trigger the heroic. Hey, we're about to start, guys. Oh my goodness, get away from me, thralls.
Ow.
I died. Are you guys good? No, not you guys. I'm sorry, I'm talking to Whitney and her mom.
Oh.
Good? Not you guys. Oh my gosh.
Wizards down.
Give me a hell yeah.
Procedure of targeted violence
Oh, yeah?
appears to be wildly
Okay.
successful.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Legendary.
Speaking
Okay.
of which,
I think we're good to start now, guys.
Okay.
Hold on. No, we're not. Hold on.
Oh.
to be fair, I can't hear them at all.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can't
if
hear
you
them
guys
either.
can't. Okay, if you guys can't hear them, then we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Eyes up, Guardians! This is the official podcast for the Twin Stick Guardians Bungie clan. I am your why am I talking like I'm a fucking salesman? I am sorry. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
It was really bad.
I'm your fucking fire team leader, Rich, and I'm here with my fire team partners, Trey and Chris, as
Hello.
always.
Hey, so I have an interesting proposition. We're all shrewd businessmen here, correct?
Sure.
Sure.
I think we should remarket the podcast and rename it. We should call it the I Hate Destiny podcast to appeal to that hardcore Reddit community. And we should just, instead of talking about the cool stuff that's happening in Destiny, we should just sit here and complain about it all the time. I think that's the fastest way to make our million bits on fucking
and
Twitch.
literally the only thing that you can complain about is random rolls coming back.
And the only
that's literally the only complaint that anybody ever says about this game anymore.
And we also can't talk about like things that are actually in the game. We can't have like complaints about that. We have to complain about things that aren't in the game, and we have to wish for things that sucked from the first game to come back.
Yep.
So
Yep.
let's go ahead and take. Let's have our power level, our level be capped by stupid gear that we can only get through the raid.
Okay.
And let's have no story. And bring in this weird exo stranger that no one understands, and
Okay.
let's just take away the bad or the good graphics and replace it with the shitty graphics that were had to do with the fact that it was still being made for 360 and PS3. Okay, I think
Okay.
we've covered everything.
Wait, also, let's complain about the fact that we're going to get 11 missions for 11 weapons to forge, and they're only going to be an hour and a half each.
Yeah. So if you aren't aware of the sarcasm, I have just been, which I don't usually do. I don't usually do this, and I feel guilty for the fact that I'm doing it. But I'm currently, I got on Reddit today, and one of the things that you see on Reddit all the time is that conversation about bringing back random rolls, which we have all talked about on this podcast, and I think we as a group agree that random rolls are awful and we don't want them back.
I agree.
And I'm having this rousing debate with this nice young man, and I'm going to go ahead and read 3 points that he made, after, mind you, calling me a casual because I have 2 jobs and a life.
Okay.
He said these 3 points.
Say his name on stream.
I don't want to.
Say his name.
No,
Say his
I
name.
don't-
Say it. Say the name.
I don't want our
Expose him!
3 listeners to go and be mean to him, okay? He already
No,
has...
nobody's being mean to him. I'm just saying, say his name on stream so people can go shame him.
Okay, this is
No,
Gall's
Damien
balls.
will be mean to him.
He says, point number 1, in D2, your hand... Oh, this is after he said... So his initial thing that he said was, the people who play the game more and who are better at the game should have better loot than a more casual player. We don't need participation trophies where everyone is equal. I said, In order to earn weapons, you actually have to play the game. That isn't a participation trophy. You don't get guns just by logging in. I think a hardcore Destiny player would understand that it's possible they could grind for hundreds of hours for a roll on a weapon that a casual could get on the first roll. The pendulum swings both ways and it doesn't accommodate anybody. So hit 2 is 3 points. 1. In D2 you're handed the best weapons. See Nameless Midnights and Origin. Being in a clan, you are indeed given raid weapons for just logging in. Raid weapons that are well below your power level, but whatever. 2. Casual players will occasionally get a fantastic gun. This is fine. Grinding for one specific roll on a specific gun isn't a necessity. Okay. Point number 3. Casual players by definition don't compete at the same level. A deep loot pool benefits everyone, as that gives casuals more chances to get lucky and also gives hardcore completionist types a more rewarding reason to spend their extra time. I said, in response to number 1, you aren't really being handed the best weapons. You are handed some good starting weapons, and even then, you have to complete activities to earn them. You still have to rely on RNG for most of the exotics worth using, and for legendaries like Better Devils and Uriel's Gift. 2. Grinding for a specific role now isn't a necessity, but it is if your gun has random rolls. And 3. A casual player can be just as good or better than a no-lifer. Time doesn't always equate to skill. A deep weapon pool does benefit all players, but random rolls don't make a deeper weapon pool. You still have to use the same guns you still have to grind for the same guns with different perks. Instead of asking for to grind for the same weapons all the time, the community should be asking for more weapons with new and more diverse perks. I think that is a completely reasonable argument. But it doesn't matter because people don't actually care about the game when they're arguing. They're just arguing because they bought a game and they hate it, and it's stupid, and it makes me not excited to play this game.
It sounds like he's arguing for a game that it sounds like he's arguing for a game that's going to die after 6 months.
Yep.
To be 100% honest with you, like he's asking for like an EverQuest. Mm-hmm. He's asking for games that only benefit people who put 1,000 hours in within the first month, if that's even possible. He's asking for games that he doesn't have any. I don't want to say it like this because everybody can play a game, whoever they are. Doesn't matter who you are. If you want to play the game, play the game. However, you're playing a game that doesn't appeal to you in any way, shape, or form. Like literally, this isn't your game. So why are you playing it? And you can't. And don't give me the argument of, well, I love this game. It's like, no, you don't, or you wouldn't be on Reddit with some random person arguing about it the whole night. You don't love this game because if you did love this game, you would play it no matter what. And I hate the argument of, well, the reason we're so critical about this game is because we do love it. It's like, no, that's not a valid argument.
Yeah, no, sitting there and calling something shit isn't
right.
That's not proving that you love it.
Right, that doesn't work. That's not. I mean, I guess depending on your version of love, that's not quite how love works. Let's take a relationship for example. I think it's a fairly good comparison. Let's take an actual relationship for example. You say, "Oh, I really, really love this person. However, you need to change this, and this in order for me to love you as much as I want to love you." It's like that's not how this works. You love somebody in spite of the fact of their flaws, in spite of the fact that they, don't put the toilet seat down or whatever it is, right?
Right.
I'm waiting for the time when people realize, oh, I don't like this game. And that's okay. It's okay not to like the game that you paid $60 for. It happens all the friggin' time. Like, you already put 500 hours into this game, so you got your money's worth. Just because you didn't like it doesn't mean anything. You don't get to freaking say, you don't go to Walmart and buy a bag of chips and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't like these, so I'm going to go to Walmart and return this bag of chips. That's not quite how this works. Yep. It's not how it works at all. Maybe you can write a letter to Lay's or Frito-Lay or whoever it is, sure. But you don't return the bag of chips. It's not how this works. Well, and I want people to realize that they don't like this game because the subreddit will be better for it, and just our lives in Destiny as gamers will be better for it.
Well, and the problem is too, like, you have these people that are like, I want random rolls back, in my opinion represents the majority of the community, and then you go to those threads and everyone's like, I don't want random rolls. Like, actually, I want that less than anything. Like, let's not do random rolls. And it's that's what's frustrating too, is the delusion that you think you represent the majority of the community. Like,
When
even
you don't.
I
Exactly.
I believe that random rolls are awful, and I still wouldn't have the audacity to sit here and be like, well, I represent the majority of the community. No, I believe
Right.
that, and I hope that other people believe that, and it looks like other people believe that, and that's fine.
Yeah, and you know, there's arguments to be made. I'm going back to the rig. There's arguments to be made on both sides, but in all reality, like, as far as a gameplay perspective actually goes, random rolls are bad because I listen to there's streamers all the time that talk about, I never got the perfect Imago loop. Why? That's not okay. That's not okay. That is the fact that you never got the perfect roll of that gun. That's not okay. That's not okay at all. Because other people did, which made them more powerful and gave them an edge, and that's
I
not
did.
okay. So
I missed
okay,
that gun.
so Rich got the perfect roll for Imago loop, which is great. Like, I'm not taking anything away from that, but there are other people that did not, and as from a gameplay perspective and gameplay design, that is not okay. It is not okay that people grinded for thousands of hours and didn't get this gun that other people did, that give them the one up. It's just not good. It's not good. It's not good game design, and it's just not good.
You want to know the funny thing though? I literally did the strike twice, and I got the perfect one.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
and
it's
that's my
fine.
point, because it's like there are people like me that, like, I think about, there are plenty of guns that I just accepted and I thought were great, even though they didn't have a perfect roll. And I played that game for 300 hours. And the fact that, like, people can go in there and get that perfect roll on the first time doing the same exact thing that I did, maybe even worse. Like, maybe I had more kills than you, or maybe you died more times than I did during that strike. Like, to me, that is less fair than a system that really doesn't give you a lot of reasons to go back and grind.
Yep. And that's why static rolls are good. And yes, if you want to improve this game as far as weapons go, I 100% agree with Trey. You need to add more diverse perks, and you don't need to give more weapons. You just need to give more variety in the weapon. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, like, right now, the only thing really worth using is high caliber rounds, even in PvE, because high caliber rounds are great. The pushback that high caliber rounds do for even PvE enemies, it's great. There's no reason not to use a gun without high caliber rounds. But give us another gun that does something, doesn't have to do a pushback like high caliber, but give us something else that does that too. Give us something different than explosive rounds or Firefly. Give us weird perks that we've never heard of that make us play the game differently. Mm-hmm. That's what you should be asking for, not random rolls. Like, if you're listening to this, however long from now on YouTube or on Twitch, stop asking for random rolls, because it's not coming back. It's not. Like,
yeah.
Bungie has stated multiple times that this is the direction they're going. This is where we're staying. We're just not going to get random rolls back. Period. So I just stop. Please stop. It'll make your life so much better. I feel like these people that are rallying for Destiny to change, it's like they're putting this stress in their lives that doesn't need to be there, all because of a video game.
Yep.
I saw a GIF or a short clip of Gathalion. And I don't know how much he was acting, but it kind of seemed like he was to the point of frustration. They were talking about the forging system in the new Christopher Osiris stuff, and he got up and he's like, "The Vex they manipulate time, and it's all about random occurrences, random perks." It's like, dude, calm down. You are putting too much stress on your life about a video game.
Well, and again, this is the third week I'm going to say this, and as we transition into Tower Talk, like, this is still the sentiment that I believe. It is good that this game does not require every hour of your time to be grinding for something in hopes of getting the best version of it. It is good that I can walk away and play something else. And I'm sorry for the people that don't agree with that. I really am, because it means that, and I don't mean to like sound like I'm talking shit about people, but it's going to sound like I'm talking shit about people. If it disappoints you so much that you can't put hundreds of hours into grinding for the same gun all the time, that tells me that you don't have anything else going on. You don't have any other game to play. You don't have anything else to be doing with your free time except for sitting there grinding for hundreds of hours for a random roll on, you know, a specific weapon that everything is based around RNG. And that's what's disappointing about gaming right now. Like, it's that, like...
Hey, we agreed not to talk about my Destiny habits, okay?
That's different, though. You have 3 kids and a full-time job.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, though, is it's not like... our Destiny habits aren't bad. It's just... I don't know. I don't know how to best describe it.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tower Talk, friends.
I got my Memory of Radagast emblem. That's pretty much it.
Well, that's exciting. That's a lot of time that you put in, right?
No, it was combined from the 2 Iron Banners.
Oh, yeah, it carries over.
Yeah. Like I'm about to get it too. I'm only one package away from getting it, and I've got, I don't know, maybe 15 tokens left to get, and I can get those tomorrow. And yeah, that's the thing, is it doesn't take forever to get these things, which is great, at least for us casuals. It doesn't take forever to get this stuff. So.
Do you have it on right now, Rich?
You've handled this before.
Hello?
No, it's on my Warlock.
Oh, bummer. It's gonna show it off.
Yeah. Oh crap! I'm late. I'm coming.
I played a little bit of Iron Banner with Chris. I'm trying to go after that emblem, but I didn't play Iron Banner at all last time, so I don't have that advantage. But I think I can.
I don't think it's going to be hard, especially if you kind of relegate it to a little bit per day. It shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. Well, we were doing the math. It's like if you just do 2 levels per day, that's, you know, basically at most 5 or 6 matches, unless you go on a really awful losing streak.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And with the daily, as long as if you can complete the daily every day, it's really not bad at all. The daily gives you 15. The daily gives you 15. What's it called? Tokens per day, and which is more than enough. Like absolutely more than enough.
Yeah.
What killed me? Oh, thralls. Dumb.
But.
Yeah, I've been playing Iron Banner too. It's not ideal. Just because it's you know, and I was getting really frustrated with PvP earlier today because I don't want to. I'm gonna sound like a complete douche right now. I'm literally gonna sound like a no-lifer, which I'm fine with. Destiny PvP is not hard to understand, and when you're playing in a group of 4. And you have, and people still try to play this game like Destiny 1. I don't understand it. I don't understand how people can play this game like Destiny 1 and expect to win. And you don't go into PvP. I mean, I guess some people do, and that's great. But most people don't go into PvP to just go have fun. They're going into a competitive world to win. You know? That's the whole point of PvP, is to give you that feeling of I'm besting these people. Doesn't mean I'm better. It just means I'm besting them. This game, like I said before, this game isn't hard to understand. But it's so like when you have 4 guys versus 4 guys, and I don't know how best to describe it. I was getting super frustrated earlier with PvP because when you don't have a way to communicate with another person or the other guardians or whatever you want to call them on your team, it's really hard. But at the same time, it's gosh man, I don't know how best to describe it without sound. I'm trying really hard not to sound like a douche.
Do you mind if I try?
That's my problem. Yeah, go for it.
You see, and again, like I'm not saying that the way that you see it is wrong, but you see a specific way that works to play PvP. and other people don't see that, and to you it's really obvious, and it's hard for you to understand why other people don't see how easy it is to win a match when it's really obvious to you. You see people doing things like running in to chase someone down and getting killed, or you see someone not staying with the group, and you know, and I guess we all know because we've done this before as a group of 3, like we can absolutely roll people. I think one day we went and didn't even lose a match. But for us, it's like we stay in a group and we clean shop, and other people don't do that. They want to run off and get glory, and that frustrates you because it affects your performance and it affects how efficiently we win the match.
Right, but it also comes down to like, Rich and I had a really good example earlier today. Was that before we started this, we were playing Iron Banner on that map with it's where you kind of jump from platform to platform on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The
anyway,
one that was
I don't
like the
remember
first map we played today.
Yes. If you look at your radar, that's a big circle. It's really, really easy to tell. And this is something I run into constantly when playing PvP. If you look at your radar, you can tell where people are. It's not hard to understand where people are on the map. But what ends up happening is like, and this is why I really like playing with Rich too, because he's got this idea. It's like if you stick together and you lure him out to you, it's almost a guaranteed win. But you've got guys that will run the complete opposite away from where the enemy is. And it's like, I don't understand where you think you're going. I don't get why you're going that way. You're literally running away from the enemy. And it's not for strategy. It's not for anything else. It's just, where are you going? And then you have like heavy ammo. In PvP, heavy ammo is, just you want to get heavy ammo. That's the whole point of heavy ammo. So if you see a heavy ammo spawn on the map, enemies are going to go to it. So get ready for it. Don't just run in there and expect to get the freaking heavy ammo yourself. You're going to have to fight for it. But that also tells you where enemies are. So if you're confused about where somebody might be, just look where heavy ammo is. And I guarantee you 90% of the time, there will be an enemy guardian there waiting for that heavy ammo. And it's not hard to understand that. And what that does is it gives you an idea, okay, they're there. So if I need to come up with some sort of strategy, whatever, that's all you need to know. And it baffles me how people don't understand how this game works yet. And it may just be, like you said, I know one way to make it work, but that way literally had me and Rich before the patch win a what was that map, Rich, that we just dominated control.
The city map.
The city map.
Fuck.
This was before the patch.
Yeah.
This was before they patched it, and you can actually win control by time limit. What was it? Time limit. Anyway, we just dominated because we understood, and the two guys that were with us, after like maybe 1 or 2 seconds or 1 or 2 encounters, realized, oh, these guys know what they're doing. If we hold B and A, we're almost guaranteed to win. And that's what you do. You hold B and A on that city map, and you're guaranteed to win. Guaranteed.
Pretty much.
I mean,
I think
there's
my
no.
KD was 14 in that match.
Yeah, mine was 11. Mine was 11. My efficiency was at 11, and yeah, that's one way to do it. But it's a guaranteed win. And if you haven't figured that out yet, and you're playing PvP, I just don't understand what you're doing in PvP. I don't, and it's really frustrating. That's all. And like I said, it makes me sound like a freaking no-lifer, but this is one of the reasons I don't play PvP a lot.
Yeah.
Because it frustrates me too much. Anyway, but I'm one package away from my Radagast symbol, so there you go.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Rich, I texted the notes if you want to go over them.
Yeah, I got him up right. One
All
second. I gotta put my code. Okay. Okay, so Bungie had a live stream on Tuesday. I'm guessing because they want the long weekend just like everybody else. Overall thoughts before we get into the nitty-gritty details, I thought it was very underwhelming, as did a lot of people.
The live stream, or you said the live stream, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the live stream.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they had chat on sub-only mode, and they were still getting the saltiness from the crowd. that I know they were trying to avoid.
Yeah, well, I mean, were you guys in the chat before it started? That was an utter black hole of humanness. It was just people like
What?
chanting over and over again about how Bungie needs to fix the game, and it's like,
Oh my gosh.
my God, don't you guys have anything better to be doing on a Tuesday afternoon?
Been
The
yelling,
people bitching about
yelling
yeah,
in the
the
chat.
Again.
I'm sorry. The people bitching about the game needing to be fixed are the idiots that they were really good in PvP at Destiny 1, and then all of a sudden it's about primaries and not special and heavy anymore, and now they want balancing. They say there's balancing issues.
Balancing by
and
adding
that's-
shotguns into that freaking special.
Yeah, I
slot.
just, and you know, that's what amazes me, man. I don't see balancing issues. Want to know why? Because it's unless you get a tryhard really running the meta. Wow, where's this captain going? Why can't we kill him? Unless you get a tryhard that's really running this meta, which happens. It totally happens when you get somebody using Uriels and Mida. Totally happens because those are really great guns. I'm not taking anything away from those guns. They're awesome and they're fun to use. But the reason I know there's no balancing issue is because it's rare that I always get killed by Uriels and Mida. I'll get killed by, Last Hope or another sidearm, or I'll get killed by a shotgun, or I'll get killed by a fusion rifle, or I'll get killed by, one of the Iron Banner, one of the new Iron Banner weapons. Like, that's how you know there's not a balancing issue, because there's not everybody's getting kills with Mida.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, it's the freaking that hardcore audience that just doesn't want to give up Destiny 1.
Yeah,
Which
you
is-
talking
which
about
is
the guys
sad.
that went back to Destiny 1 on their channels?
Yeah,
Because
like, dude, yeah, a couple of dudes from Planet Destiny went back to Destiny 1. It's like, what are you guys doing?
They're
Like, did
using
you-
the excuse
did you-
that they can't snipe in Destiny 2.
Yeah, did you hate this game that much that you're going back to Destiny 1? Like, well, I mean, good.
It's not
good
that
on
you
you.
can't snipe. Sniping just requires skill now. That's all it is.
Or the
Yeah,
I mean,
I can see that.
There is sniping in first-person shooters is really important to a lot of people. I don't get it because I think there are more fun ways to play the game, but it's important to people. And I think the fact that it's tied to the heavy slot and you're not always guaranteed to get heavy ammo, like for people that enjoy sniping, it kind of takes the fun away because, there are matches where I don't get any heavy ammo. And I'm fine with that because I'm not this hardcore, first-person shooter competitive sniper, but I
Yeah.
could see that argument. And but at the same time, like, I don't want that to change.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I can understand why that upsets people, and I totally get it. And hopefully they add in a mode where it's like you have to use a sniper or a shotgun in the heavy slot, and you start out with heavy ammo. Like, that would be cool, but it should be an optional mode. Snipers don't need to be back in the meta like they were in Destiny 1.
Well, I mean, I think they have a place. And I mean, I can tell you now, like, I've been killed by sniper rifles before.
Yes.
That's not a rare occurrence. But it's also like, it's not every match that I'm being killed by a sniper rifle, which is good. That's the whole point. It's good that I'm not being killed by sniper rifles every match. It's good that I don't always see that stupid red dot when I'm looking down a lane. And
Yeah.
it's honestly like, it's welcomed when I do see the red dot. Because it's like, oh, there's a sniper down there, so
like,
now we
oh,
got a challenge,
This guy's
Like,
not
now
using
there's
a rocket launcher and shooting it halfway across the map.
Yeah,
There's
exactly. This guy's
really
not
nothing
using
I can do
another.
about that.
Right, exactly. Like, there's something I can do to fight a sniper rifle, which is great. But I just don't get it. I don't know. Whatever. I'm almost to the point with Trey. Like, I'm not gonna stop playing the game, but man, that small majority, that 2% of people that complain all the time, are really making this game not fun anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you where I'm at right now. I'm at the point where I'm getting Grand Theft Auto tomorrow, and I'm going to play with Chris.
And me,
Yeah,
But
buddy.
I'm also... And Trey. But I'm also going to go, and my little brother plays NBA 2K, so I'm going to go get that. Since it's $21 at GameStop, and it's not a
Yep.
bad deal, and I like basketball anyway, so fuck it. Because until December 5th, I probably won't pick this up unless we're recording, so...
Yeah, dude. No, that's the whole thing. Is there's, I think that's the message that at least I like to get out, is like, guys, there's other games, right? Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed
even
is
the-
awesome. Assassin's Creed is awesome
the-
this year. Go play Assassin's Creed.
Even the streamers are playing Fortnite. Like,
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed's awesome. Go play Assassin's Creed. Wolfenstein 2 is critically acclaimed. Go pick up Wolfenstein. You know, pick up all
Fortnite
these
Battle Royale
games.
is free.
Yeah, exactly. Go play these
Someone
other
play
games,
Starfighter
guys.
Assault with Trey and Battlefront 2.
Yeah,
It's
honestly, pick
my
up
favorite
Battlefront
thing.
2. You know, if you're okay with supporting that right now, go pick up Battlefront. Like, you know, yeah, there's a whole freaking debacle happening with loot boxes in EA. And did you guys just hear Belgium and I want to say Hawaii have deemed loot boxes in game as gambling?
Yep, and
Yeah.
it is. Hopefully, the U.S. follows suit. Although,
Yeah. So, well, I mean,
with
since
the
one
Congress
state,
that we have right now, I would highly
Yeah,
doubt
since
that
what-
anyone from making money.
well, that's the thing is since one state's already deemed it, either that or Hawaii's under investigation. But I know Belgium definitely has deemed it gambling, and they're trying to spread that throughout Europe, which is good, because plus Europe's laws on gambling are a lot stricter than the United States.
Yeah.
So it would be good to see that go through, and yes, that's a whole other topic, and it's good, but I don't necessarily see loot boxes as gambling. I guess this is a good way to change the way they work, but I don't necessarily see it as gambling, and I see it more as buying a pack of Pokemon cards, or Magic the Gathering cards. You're paying money for this thing, and you know you're going to get something out of it. You're going to get some sort of product and monetary value out of it. It's just how the loot box is handled, i.e. EA's Battlefront. That wasn't handled well at all. But it's still, I don't really consider it loot. I don't consider that gambling.
Yeah, that's. I'm
but
sure we will continue this topic on Twin Stick
Yeah.
Radio.
I'm sure we will too, but yeah, like it's a huge topic for debate, which is good. But I'm glad it's happening, because maybe unfortunately, maybe the government stepping in is what needed to happen.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say that, but
So-
maybe that's what needed to happen.
Going back real fast though, Rich, why do you feel the way you do? I mean, like I think you played more Destiny than Chris and I combined, or at least close to it. Like, honestly, you were the type of person that only played Destiny. Your PlayStation was a Destiny machine. So what's bringing you to the point where you're like, man, I think I'm done. At least for now, at least until 2 weeks from Tuesday or whenever it'll be, a week from Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know, man. PvP is just not, because PvP is where I put a lot of my hours in Destiny 1. I played a whole lot of PvP, and I did a whole lot of raiding, and it's not as fun as, unfortunately, Destiny 1 is, and especially with, I hate to blame the community, but man, I did so much complaining every time, no matter who or what. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't want to speak for Rich, but I think, and totally tell me if I'm wrong, but this is a perspective I get from Rich. This is my perspective on Rich, why he's not playing as much. I think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that Rich came into Destiny fairly late, not like
I'm reading signs
he wasn't there at day one like we were.
Uh-huh.
And so I think the fact that Destiny 1 gave him so much more to do, and he actually did come into Destiny 1 at the best time he could possibly have come into Destiny 1.
Yeah, that was the time where the community was in love with the game, like overwhelming positivity.
With everything, exactly. And I think that had a lot to do with why Destiny 1 around Taken King was so good. Because you had a ton of stuff to do. I mean, there's no denying that. There was a ton of stuff to grind for, and there was just a ton of stuff to go. PvP was worthwhile of doing. Somebody's not standing on the thing, sorry. PvP was 100% worthwhile, and it was to a lot of people it was more fun, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I like this PvP a little bit better. I like the firefights that break out. But I think that might have and like I said, Rich, totally correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that has a lot to do with it. Is the fact that you came in at such a great time in Destiny 1's lifetime.
Yeah, but I also stuck with it when nobody else was playing.
It's also true. Yeah. Yep.
I like with Rise of Iron and Age of Triumph, there was always new things. Not new, but like every week the raid would reset to which one was going to be the challenge. With Rise of Iron, they didn't wait long before introducing challenge mode, and challenge mode was actually challenging. Like, it took people a few hours to figure out the challenge mode in the raid, and there was different topics up for debate on the podcast I listened to, and now every podcast I listen to is either PC frames or it's fucking balanced PvP.
I've lost count of your victories, but I know.
I don't appreciate you impersonating me. We talked about this last week.
but that's the thing that goes back to that original argument is like, yeah, like sure, but that was a time when we had 4 different raids to go to. And that was a time where there was 19 or 20 different PvP maps. And that was also a time when after 4 or 5 one major expansion and like 4 or 5 smaller expansions, it's like that was a time when there was so much to do in Destiny that logging in for an hour a day just wasn't enough time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And in 3 years, I would almost guarantee you after 3 years in Destiny 2, we're going to get to that point. I have no doubt.
yeah, that was going to be my question: is do we go back to those days of glory? And
I think so. If Bungie's smart the way they designed this game, I totally think we are going to get back to that point at some point in time.
see, I kind of don't feel like we will, and I don't mean that in like a negative Nancy, like, oh, Destiny sucks kind of way. I mean it in a way of like, part of the reason why Destiny had so much content and why Destiny ended up the way it ended up, that had a lot to do with the fact that this game got delayed. Like that objectively happened. In a realistic world, we would have gotten Rise of Iron, or in the ideal world, we would have gotten Rise of Iron in April, and then Destiny 2 would have come out in September. So we would have never had something like Age of Triumph that brought back all these raids and essentially brought every piece of the game into the end game. And I would hope that the new norm would be like, hey, we'll do one major expansion and then the sequel's going to come. And hopefully I really think, we've talked about this before, I think Destiny 2 is kind of like a good reset point. It's a way for them to reestablish like what they're doing in this universe, and now that they've had success with the franchise, and I think that we'll come back 2 years from now with a Destiny 3 that whose base game resembles more the final product of Destiny 2 than Destiny 2 did from Destiny 1, because making that end game happen was completely unrealistic. There was no way this game was going to launch with 4 raids and 6 explorable spaces.
Of course not. And if you were in that mindset, I mean, what were you thinking? Of course not. But I think something that, yes, I do agree with you that if this game wasn't delayed, Destiny 1 probably wouldn't have turned out the way it did. However, I think it would have gotten pretty close, because what Destiny 1 proved, and even what Destiny 2 is proving now, is that Bungie very much listens to what the majority of fans want.
Yeah.
That's what made Destiny evolve into that year 3. I think the community had a huge part in getting that game to evolve to what it was. And I think it's good. The same thing's going to happen here, especially now since the community is so much louder.
Well, I would be curious though, like if that work that they put into the game ended up working out, because I know that I'm not foolish enough to think that, Chris, you and I represent the majority, but you and I were day 1 Destiny players. We were Taken King day 1. We were Rise of Iron day 1, and Rise of Iron really soured both of us. There's this, people like to look back on Rise of Iron like it was this amazing thing that changed the world, and the reality is it pissed a lot of people off, and it pissed us off. And so we didn't come back. And when Age of Triumph happened, you came back maybe for like a day or 2, but I didn't come back at all. So I wonder how many of the players, like how much of their community actually came back for Age of Triumph, and whether or not that work that they put into bringing everything forward and making it all, accessible at in-game for post Rise of Iron players. I wonder if that was worth it.
Right. I mean,
I loved. I was one of the people that loved Rise of Iron. I played every day. I raided every day, and honestly, it was what I wanted when it comes to Destiny. Age of Triumph was a little disappointing, only because once you did the raids and the challenges, which technically took 16 weeks altogether, maybe. So by that time, it was maybe.
like that you say that like it's casually like 16 weeks. Like
I'm
that's a
talking
long
Rise of
time.
Iron. I'm talking Rise of Iron and Age of Triumph put together.
You're taking it. You're saying it took 16 weeks
Year 3.
for
From Rise of Iron to the time we finished the stuff. From the time Rise of Iron launched until the time Age of Triumph was finished. Yeah.
Got it. I understand.
60. It really had to be more than that. Because didn't Age of Triumph launch in April?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea.
Age of Triumph, I think, launched in April. Oh, oops, sorry, Rich. And Rise of Iron came out in September. So you're looking at September, October,
Holy
November,
shit.
December,
Yeah, you're
January,
right.
February, March, April. So that's 8 months times 4. You're looking at 32 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. But you also got to when I say 16 weeks, everybody was done with Rise of Iron in a week.
Yeah.
After that, it was just repetitive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really count those 4 months in between, because that was like the black hole. Like, where's the content? What are you doing? Give us something to do. From October to April, that's what everybody was saying.
Well, and that's ultimately what pissed everyone off, was the fact that we got we had gotten Taken King the year before, which completely changed the game that we had all been playing and revamped it in this glorious way. And, that launched at a $40 price point, and then Rise of Iron comes out at $30, more expensive than all the other DLCs, but it's about the same length and and has about as much gameplay as one of those DLCs.
Right,
and then there was this
and
huge drought in between that and
right.
Age of
I think
Triumph.
the drought is really what I don't want to say, like, the drought was too long. Like, going that much time without any sort of content in a massively open world, especially like a games with service, that's a long time to go without content.
Yeah.
And I'd like to stay fairly optimistic about this one. I don't think we're going to see that in this game. I think, like I said, I don't think Bungie's dumb enough to make the same mistakes twice, but I don't know. They could be.
I hope not. But that
I
space in between March and September really worries me. March or
Yeah,
April and September.
But that's the thing, is I do totally see seasons making up for that, right? We're going to get 4 seasons per year. And if we can get 2 expansions per season, that's great. And then maybe when we do year 2 of Destiny 2, we get one gigantic update that just it's a Taken King but better update. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I totally think I think 2 expansions per season is doable. I think. I could be wrong. But I do think it's doable, especially since Bungie's literally not working on any other game except for probably they're in pre for Destiny 3.
Yeah.
But that's main Bungie. That's not the live team.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's the dev team. The live team is in charge of us now.
Right.
Anyway,
so I totally think it's doable, and I think that would prolong this. That makes sense.
Anyway, back to the underwhelming live stream. I'm sorry, I derailed this.
Oh no, that's fine.
That's okay. The thing they were most excited to show off, it seemed like, was the new public event, which looks really fun. Honestly, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we're sitting here doing public events again.
With our resident king of public events, what did you think about it?
I actually thought it was really cool. I know. Here's the thing, dude. Trey and I have been covering video games for a really long time. So when Bungie was like, "This is the biggest public event we've ever made," in no way, shape, or form did I think gameplay-wise it's the biggest. I thought, like, space-wise, it was the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was right. I think it's huge. Like you go from platform to platform, and there's a ton of stuff to do. But for the most part, it's just another kill a bunch of things, then kill boss.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like the
And that's
gameplay
not
has
bad.
changed.
Yeah, and that's not bad. You don't have to. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And look at us. Like I said, we're sitting here doing event after event after event, and I have fun every single time we do these events. I love public events in Destiny 2. This is the thing I like grinding the most. So I'm very excited to, once again, jump in and get this one done. I'm excited to figure out how to do the heroic. I am excited for it. And it looks like a lot of fun. So we'll see.
I thought it looked pretty cool. I liked the mechanics of the dunk and the platforms and the teleportation devices and all that stuff. I just wish we'd have like a little bit more lore with these. Like, why are we doing what we're doing?
Well, I mean, we were also watching a stream where we couldn't hear the audio, so I think public events have a fairly okay amount of lore. Especially if you listen to these, like we're on Nessus, and it's like you go to the servitor, and it's like, your ghost is like, it's the servitor again, and then failsafe chimes in. It's like, actually, it's not. It's a different servitor. Like that little bit of lore is fine. That's what you need because you're doing the same thing over and over again. I'm sure it'll be there. We just couldn't hear it.
I do agree with Rich though. There's a certain amount of like suspension of disbelief you have to have when doing public events where it's like, how many times, like, are the Fallen really stupid enough to try to like land tanks in the same spot on Titan like every day?
Yep.
It's like, man, the first 100 times we did this today, it didn't work, but this time we got it. It's like, there is that level of this is purely for gameplay and not for a lore reason. And the thing about the public event on Mercury is that there's that level of like Vex simulation, right? Where essentially what you're doing is interrupting a Vex simulation. And I think there's a little bit like better suspension of disbelief there, but it's like hopefully when the game comes out, as Chris was saying, that like the ambient dialogue that's happening there kind of gives better context to why this is happening. And it's not necessarily important. We're still gonna do it a million times, but I do see Rich's point about like this seems a little ridiculous to do it all the time.
I had this conversation with somebody. I don't remember who it was. It was probably you, Trey, or Britt, one of you two, because most of this conversation comes to stuff. But it would be really, really cool to see the world or the map that you're on change depending on whether or not you've completed a public event. So if you, like, let's say this, for example, we're about to do the witches. If nobody comes and does this room should be overflowing with hive that it's super hard to clear out because we didn't do the event. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There should be some sort of ramification for not doing these events. And I think from a lore perspective, or even just from a gameplay perspective, that would make this a lot more fun. It would make it's like, okay, it gives me a reason other than just loot to do these public events. It's like, well, I don't want to, there could be a kindergarten coming through here doing a story mission, and all of a sudden they run into this room because they have to do a story mission, and it's just overflowing with hive. And it's like, that was our fault because we didn't do the public event. It's like, okay, now we got to go fix this. Like, I think that'd be a really cool, interesting way to give us ramifications for not doing the public events.
I agree. I remember when Helldivers came out, everyone was like, this was the game that we thought Destiny would be. And to a certain degree, I agree with that. I thought that Destiny was going to be a little bit more like Helldivers than it ended up being.
Are you talking about that twin stick shooter Helldivers?
Yep. Minus the twin stick shooter part. I thought it would be in first person.
Oh, I think I remember that game now. You fought the bugs, right?
Yeah, and part of that game's conceit was like, hey, you are in this world and all these planets are under attack by this alien race, and you're basically choosing the places that you want to fight. And as you fight, like, certain factions in the game, the aliens would have more control over one part of the universe, and so it made those worlds like living worlds. Like if you were running missions in an area that you had cleared out pretty well, it was really, really easy to do. But if you're running missions on a planet that has been 90% taken over by the bugs, like there are a lot more bugs to fight, and it's a lot harder. It would be cool if those elements were in, like, there was a way to integrate it into the maps in Destiny and make this feel like a living world where there are ramifications for the things that you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's little things like that would make this. It gives it some flair, if you want to call it anything.
Yeah.
But back to the Mercury Republic event, I think it looks awesome. I'm sure it's gonna be racked that I'm at 700. Hold on. I am at I'm at 716 heroic events completed. So I'm sure I'm sure that one's gonna be contribute to that the high ass number now too. So
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so they did real quick. They did confirm that season 2 begins with Curse of Osiris.
yep.
I'm hoping we get vendor resets on each planet. I really am.
Me too.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Do you think they have an art team big enough to handle that? Because that's a lot of art assets to put into a game every season.
No, that's
Like a lot.
What would that be? Let's see. Hold on. I'll count right now. That's
Up for it? Handled this before.
let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 8 new assets every 4 months. Or every 3
8 new
months.
assets?
No, are you
Yeah.
counting Iron Banner and Trials and the raid?
And you're,
So 11.
I mean, the other thing to take into account too is that you have 5 armor slots per 3 classes.
So that would be.
I mean, I think-
55 pieces of armor every 3 months.
If you just take the 4 planets into account, right? That there are 5 slots of gear times 3. That's 15 times 4. That's 60. That's 60 individual assets that you have to design just to do the vendor resets. And on top of that, you have Iron Banner and Trials.
Whew, man, that's a lot, dude.
Yeah, so that's 15 per Iron Banner, 15 per Trials. Faction Rally, 3 factions times 15, 75 times 3. Like, you know, that's a lot of individual assets. However, at the same time, to Rich's point, we're talking about a game that sold millions of copies. Are you telling me you can't hire some more artists?
I don't think it's a matter of if you have the money to do it. I think it's a matter of if you actually have the talent to do it. Because that's somebody who's sitting in a room for however long designing this armor. Like I've never designed armor before, or I'm not an artist, but I know artists, and I'm pretty sure like if I were to ask Sandy or Whitney, he's like, hey, in the span of 3 months, I need 60 different paintings. Like, and it's gotta be, each one has to be original. It's like, I don't know about that. That's a lot.
We're also talking about Bungie, who just take a whole lot of their original blue armor and just build on it for the legendary armor.
And we're also talking about
that's
planetary
true.
armor that is the same armor, just with a new skin.
Yeah, that's true. I think honestly, I think to alleviate that is you do ornaments. You keep, and I think that's what they're doing, is you keep the same armor, but all of a sudden now there's a way to modify it.
Well, you know, at the same time, to Chris's point, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I hope this happens. Like, in the perfect world, like, I hope this is the outcome. But at the end of the day, like, it's one of those things about tempering expectations, like we talked about last week. I don't know that's going to be a priority. I hope it is in the next season where they really.
Because if you think about it, what would be our reasons for token grinding on these planets if we're stuck with the same armor until next September?
I mean, you're right. There's not. Like, I am at. Let's see. I have 211 Titan tokens, 190 IO tokens, 150 Nessus tokens, and 458 EDZ tokens.
Yeah, I told you yesterday, dude, you're gonna look like a genius if there's an armor reset.
Yeah, possibly, yes. But again, I'm kind of with Trey. It's like we're already getting new Trials gear. As far as I understand, we're not getting Iron Banner gear. It's the same Iron Banner gear, armor, just with ornaments. Which we could be wrong.
Yeah, but on the other side, we're getting new faction gear, like actual faction gear that's not reskins from what
right, we're getting new faction gear. We're also getting new raid gear. The raid layer is supposed to drop new raid gear, which we're supposed to see next week. So yeah, I don't know. We're getting, I don't know. It's just hard to tell, man. I want to stay optimistic, but at the same time, like, I just can't see them resetting all the vendors.
If we're gonna go by Bungie's MO, then we have to look at what they did previously, and previously with Age of Triumph, they brought back the raid gear with ornaments.
Right, but also in Destiny 1, we didn't have. And correct me if I'm wrong. We didn't have as many vendors as we do in Destiny 2.
For armor, no, definitely not.
Yeah, which is what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's say you're
we
a
had
warlock.
Crucible, Vanguard,
Yep.
3 factions.
Yep.
Eris had class items.
Didn't have armor
I
though,
just got-
from what I remember. Like
She had class items. I just got kicked,
that's
so
what
I'm
she
coming
had.
back.
Yeah, she just had class items. I think that's it. Besides, the Queen. The Queen's armor.
Queen had armor?
Well, not the Queen herself, but the lady at the high.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being armor in that. I totally could be wrong. So probably am wrong. Osiris armor.
Osiris armor. What's his name? Varix had class items.
Okay, so really, like from an armor perspective, we probably had like 5 to 6 vendors. Where now we have like 11 vendors, maybe more. So I have a hard time expecting them to keep up with that art asset. That's all.
Man, I hope they do though. I mean, I feel like that's what they did with the last DLCs. I know they at least did it with Taken King, where when Taken King came out, the vendors all had to refresh. But I want to say they did it with the other DLCs too. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Rise of Iron did have a vendor refresh.
Yeah, I just can't remember with Taken King or not Taken King, Dark Below and House of Wolves whether or not they did. I want to say they did. Like I'm pretty confident in saying that they did. But again, I don't want to commit to that. At the very least, like if we don't get planetary armor, we should get new Vanguard and Crucible armor. I think that's the bare minimum.
That's how I remembered the
expectation that I can have in good conscience.
That's how I remembered. Yeah, that's how I would remember the resets. Like Taken King, the Crucible armor changed to the Seattle Seahawks color because they're based in Seattle.
I didn't realize. I never made that correlation. That's funny.
And then with Rise of Iron. We got that blue and orange Crucible armor.
Interesting. So maybe we do. That'd be great. Again, that would be great if we do because that's just giving that gives people something to grind for. Is the token system good? No. But it's what we have right now. So if they can supplement us always having to play their slot machine, of us getting more stuff to play their slot machine for, I think that helps a little bit. But it doesn't fix it, which, whatever. I'm sure it'll get fixed at some point, but when is the problem?
Yeah.
Next on the list is Lost Prophecies, which is how we build the weapons in the Forge. Basically, it's a quest where you gather materials to forge weapons, and the items are acquired from activities in-game and will vary depending on the verse/quest. Weapon forging will be optional after the campaign. This is where the most obnoxious complaint that I heard all week came from. Literally, a content creator said, "So I really hope it only doesn't take an hour for each weapon to forge, because that's only 11 and a half hours of content."
For $20, I'd call that pretty good. I'd call that pretty good. Especially since there's people out there that spent $40 on Uncharted Lost Legacy and only got 6 hours out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
let's be be honest here, guys.
From what we can tell, like exotics aren't tied to that wall, and that there are going to be legendaries that also aren't tied to that wall. So,
right.
Even if there aren't legendary weapons, like legendary armor isn't tied to that wall. So, at the end of the day,
they are legendary weapons. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying that legendary armor isn't tied to that wall. So even if every legendary is earnable on that wall, even if every legendary weapon that is available in the DLC is earnable on that wall, legendary armor is not attached to that wall, correct?
Right. Armor is not.
Exactly.
They're just
armor's
weapons.
Not attached to the wall. But even if the weapons are, you still have armor you can go out and grind. Like even if there are only 11 legendary weapons, which I don't think there are, and they're all tied to that wall, there is still other stuff for you to go out and grind and try to collect.
Yeah, actually, I totally can see 11 legendary weapons coming from that wall. Because I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, let's say because we already know there's 2 different hand cannons. One's a kinetic, one's a energy. We've seen an SMG,
We saw-
and we've seen a pulse rifle, a kinetic pulse rifle.
2 pulse rifles. There was a
2
kinetic
pulse
and an
rifles.
energy. Yeah.
Okay, we've seen the scout rifle, so we're already at 6, something like
The
that.
sidearm, the triple tap sidearm.
So we're
Yeah.
at 7. Then maybe a fusion rifle, maybe a shotgun, maybe a sniper rifle.
Oh, dude, there's definitely a shotgun. That shotgun that Deej was using in the.
that
in the
was
public event.
that was a Saint 14 shotgun.
Oh.
Did I
What's
did you just get super excited, Rich, when I said that? Go back and look at that shotgun. Go back and look at it, and you tell me you don't see a fleur-de-lis with the number 14 on that shotgun.
All right, guys, we don't have time to blow Rich's mind right now.
I know, like I feel like I literally just blew Rich's mind. Check
What
out that
the
shotgun.
fuck?
Look at that shotgun, and on the side of that shotgun, there is a fleur-de-lis, which is and I'm about to blow your mind hard. Man, my destiny keeps crashing. There's a fleur-de-lis on that shotgun, and the fleur-de-lis is usually associated with saints, and the number 14 is on the side of that shotgun.
Fuck me.
Anyway,
Well, you're welcome, Rich.
well, and even
yeah, so-
but even if those are the only weapons, that's not including the faction rally, trials, Iron Banner.
Yeah, there's a
and-
ton of weapons coming in season 2.
Yeah,
a ton.
and it's not including the other stuff from season 2. So it's, and let's be real for a second. Like I hate to burst anyone's bubble, but if you think that you're going to be able to do the majority of season 2 activities with base Destiny 2, you're sorely mistaken, and you should,
Yep.
be well aware that you're going to have to buy Curse of Osiris
Yeah.
for better or for worse. I'm
Yep.
not supporting that, but that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that's what they do with Taken King. We're gonna get those same complaints. I spent $60. Why can it was the complaints we were getting last year? Not last year, but 2 years ago with the the House of Wolves, where people were complaining
Yes.
that they couldn't play
And
Trials of Osiris in the Taken King because they didn't buy the Taken King.
And I think that's a legitimate complaint. Like, I can see that argument, but like, don't be surprised when it happens. Like, if you're gonna complain,
Yeah.
start complaining now and get it out of your system, because it's just how it is, and it sucks. And we can talk about how it sucks at some point, but that's how it is. So, with season, technically with Curse of Osiris, you're also getting all of the dawning stuff too. So, if you're expecting a lack of things to do, like you're kind of being overly negative, and you should get yourself in check.
I agree. I completely agree with that. Because, I mean, if you think about it, now, armor being reset at vendors, I'm kind of iffy on. But I'm like 90% sure we're going to get an entire weapon reset across the board. So Uriel's gift will not exist in Season 2. I can almost guarantee that.
That'd be neat.
Like, I think that would be the ideal way to handle this. Like I said, I'm like 90% sure, and I would love to be, and I don't want to be proven wrong, but I'm also trying to stay grounded. So there's that 10% of me thinks that probably won't happen, but I can totally see them doing a complete and utter
Man, I hope
weapon
so.
ru-
I would
weapon
really
riot.
I would really like for people coming in after season 2, like new players, not being forced into the serials meta, and to be in a place where it's
Yeah.
like, oh hey, there's a comparable gun in season 2, maybe even a better gun. Let's use that instead of
Yes.
this gun that everyone is using.
Yes, and I hope we're getting to that point. I hope we do get to that point, because that sounds like an ideal way to handle seasons, at least weapon wise.
Yeah.
Anyway, go back to the wall. I think the wall's great. I think the way they're handling the quests, because those Lost Prophecies are quests. I think the way they're handling the quests are great. So a really good example was one of the Lost Prophecies, you have to go do strikes, or you have to go do PvP to get the item that you need to forge the weapon. It's good. It makes people go play the game, right? Now, hey, look, now we actually have a reason to go do strikes. We literally have a reason to go do strikes,
Yep.
which is great.
Yep. Strikes
That's
and
absolutely
adventures.
amazing. So,
Strikes
I like the
and
wall.
adventures, because that's a good segue, because we get heroic adventures with modifiers. That's
Right.
that's gonna be fun. I like that a lot.
I agree.
It gives me a reason to play adventures, because that's where the lore is, and I don't have my precious grimoire anymore that I miss so very much.
yeah.
You have no idea how much I miss the Grimoire. Like, it's a problem.
I'm sure, dude. I believe you. Now, here's my question. We're getting adventures. Now, they did say the adventures on Mercury, that's how you go to the Infinite Forest. They did not say that the only way to get to the Infinite Forest is through adventures, but that's the way it seems. Not a big deal, especially since I'm sure every day, like Ikora's adventures or the missions, I'm sure they're going to reset. Do those reset every day or do those reset every week?
Week?
Every day.
Oh, day.
Okay,
I'm
so
wrong.
yeah, so that's great. I'm sure adventures will reset every day at Brother Vance, which is awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Like, that is a
Ikora's
great-
meditation, those are basically our daily heroic stories.
Exactly. And so now we're going to have daily heroic adventures taking us to the Infinite Forest, which is good because we need a reason to go play in the Infinite Forest.
You know,
But like you said, that also gives us modifiers, so that gives me hope because they didn't mention it, which this is why I'm a little salty about the stream is they didn't cover heroic strikes at all.
well,
Which is kind of sucks. Like, at least tell me this is what heroic strikes are going to entail. Because if you're giving us modifiers in heroic adventures, there's no reason we shouldn't have modifiers in heroic strikes.
talking about strikes, one of the things that I found incredibly frustrating and just disingenuous, and honestly, like one of my least favorite things that I've heard Bungie say in a long time, was when they were talking about the new strikes and Curse of Osiris. We're supposed to get 2 of them, and supposedly you do those strikes in the story. Single player, they are changed to adapt to, or changed so that they accommodate a single player play style, but they're essentially the same path and the same, kind of direction that you'd be going in the strike with the people that you're playing with. And so the community had heard about that earlier this week, and they had been saying like, oh, so they're essentially just repurposing story missions and using them as strikes. And a few people were like, well, you kind of go to the same places sometimes. And with the way they described it on the stream, that's exactly what it sounds like. But they justified it by saying like, oh, there are a lot of people that don't ever play strikes, and we wanted to show them what the strike space is like. And then you can go back and it's modified and adapted for a fire team. And it, to me, like, you can justify it however you want, and I need to play it, and maybe after I play it, my opinion will change. At the end of the day, that sounds incredibly lazy to me. And to me, it sounds like something that's coming down from a higher up that's saying, like, hey, no one's playing strikes, so let's not put effort into making strikes. Well, no one's playing strikes because you're not giving us a reason to play strikes. Like, doing a half-assed job of making a strike has nothing to do with people playing it because you're not giving us a reason. Heroic Strike should have been in the game in October. We shouldn't have had to wait until a new DLC came out to get a Heroic Strike playlist. So if your reasoning for it has to do with the fact that we're not playing, that's your own damn fault, and now you're, kind of fucking your content over.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I do think to put some kind of a silver lining on this is that I do really think that these strikes were designed first. And I think they just decided to make that call of like, hey, let's put these strikes into the story mission somehow and make them work, which to me is a little bit, like I said, like a small silver lining, because that means the strikes are still going to be just as good as the strikes, because Destiny 2 has amazing strikes. Some of them are great. And why would somebody put their barricade up right here? Come on, dude.
Well, but the other side of that, though, is, like, even if that's the case, even if they were designed as strikes first and then adapted for the story missions, which I would agree that's probably what happened or what I hope happened, it doesn't matter because the community is not going to see it that way, and it's not going to appear that way. No one plays it. You can't play the strikes first. You're going to be playing the story missions first. So it kind of ruins that design when it's like, oh, this was designed primarily as a strike, but your first introduction to it is in a story mission that is hopefully nothing like the strike that you're going to be playing.
Yeah, I'm sure, and that's the thing. Yes, I agree. But I like holding on to that silver line that strikes were developed first, and they were just added to the story later, which I guess is not that big of a deal. I'm really not concerned too much with this because it's just something to do, and it's not necessarily I don't want to say it a bad thing, but it's just I'm not bothered by the strikes and the story being in the same thing.
Yeah,
But I am with you. I'm bothered by the way they worded it. I'm bothered by the way. Well, this gives you a reason to do strikes. Like, no, this isn't the right reason for us to be doing strikes.
I'm bothered because, like, I've established myself. Strikes are my favorite thing to do in Destiny 2. I absolutely, or in Destiny, just in Destiny in general, because I don't do it in Destiny 2. Strikes are my favorite activity in the game, and to me, it seemed like strikes are a secondary thought that no one really considered them when they were making the game, which is a total shame because I think that some of the strongest game design that they've put into the game comes from the strikes. And
Yeah,
for them to
absolutely.
turn around and pull this move on a game mode that they're already poorly supporting, like, it just sucks. It really sucks for people that enjoy that.
Yeah, and I like I said, I'm totally 100% with you on that. It just to the point is I'm not bothered that they're also story missions.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are really upset about that, and that just doesn't bother me personally.
And I understand
I mean,
that.
The exact language they used was story strikes, right?
Something like that.
Because you know how Deej is, dude. Deej is gonna say something that's gonna put the whole fucking community at edge, and then he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back to work one day and be like, "Oh, remember how we talked about story strikes? Nah, it's something totally different than what I said it was."
Yeah, possibly.
Man, I hope so. I hope that, like, part of me is mad now, but part of me also realizes that in 2 weeks I could play those strikes and be like, oh no, this is totally serviceable and fine. Actually, this doesn't make me mad at all.
Well, I mean, because remember how we felt the first time we played in the beta Inverted Spire? We were like, this is what strikes should have been in Destiny 1. It's like a mini raid with a difficult boss and a difficult way to get there, and it was challenging, but it wasn't too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had very high expectations for the strikes, and I don't think it lived up to any of it.
Well, part of the reason why it didn't...
I do. I totally think the strikes lived up to it, with the exception of one.
Yeah, that... I think... Yes, yeah. I think that in the Nightfall scenarios, I agree with Chris. I think that the strikes that I played the Nightfall of, like, they live up to what I thought they were during the beta. I do think that a lot of the fun is taken away by putting it on a timer, but that also has to do with the fact that, like, once you get over the recommended light level for strikes, they become incredibly easy. Even the Nightfall strike, when you hit 305, like, the Nightfall is not a problem at all. If you want challenge, you need to go play the heroic Nightfall. So now
heroic strikes are going to be 270. Nightfall is going to be 300. Heroic Nightfall will be 330.
Yeah, and that's
fine.
But that's the other problem too, is that, like, I went off about this last week, and you and Chris are like, well, maybe that's just what it says in, the build that we're looking at in the stream, and I hope that's the case. But that's another thing that I'm trying not to go off about, is how is it that when you're raising the light level to 330, you think 270 is a heroic activity? It's utterly ridiculous. It's so stupid. And it goes back to what I'm saying about you not appreciating, not accommodating players that like to play this way. Like, I would much rather be doing strikes right now than doing, public events. And I like public events, but there's no reason to do it. And now you're giving us less of a reason by making a heroic activity basically something that you can accomplish in 2 hours after beating the campaign and hitting level 20. It's so fucking stupid. It makes me mad.
Yep.
Well, that was it on the list. Unless you guys had anything else, any other comments about the stream?
Was that really it?
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Rich, because I think Chris and I have this theory about you as a person where you generally just like things like that. It's one of the most endearing qualities about you, is that, like, the majority of the time you do something, you're like, oh, that was incredible, even if everyone else is like, that sucks and stupid. But you started this out by saying, like, hey, this was an underwhelming stream. Why did you think it was underwhelming? Like, what were you disappointed about?
I literally fell asleep. I mean, if something doesn't capture my attention enough to keep me awake on my lunch break at work, it's
very bad.
What was underwhelming about it, though?
I mean, just first of all, the devs on the couch need to get some fucking personality.
Oh, I like the second guy, the guy that was new.
Wake the fuck
didn't,
up.
I didn't like that guy. He seemed like he genuinely did not want to be there.
Yeah. And then I love Deej, but he needs to stop using words that make no sense to most people that watch the stream.
Like,
I understand what he's saying, but he's so extra with the verbiage that he uses.
well,
I mean, that's just Deej's personality, I think.
yeah.
Also, why not switch it up? Why not give us Cosmo 1 week? Cosmo is a community manager too.
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah.
I like Deej though. I don't want Cosmo.
Here's what, at least to me, what made it very underwhelming to me, because I thought the same thing. I thought it was very underwhelming. Once they were done with it, it was like the end of Rise of Iron. I said, "That's it."
That's it.
Is because number one, they did an hour and a half stream the first week. And I'm sorry, but every time you do something as a company and you set a precedent for yourself, you have to follow up. You have to do it again. Like, we should have got a roadmap for October, November, December, and we don't.
Especially
true.
since the
I
stream
totally
was
forgot
called
about
New
that.
Ways to Play.
Right, and that's the thing, is you give us new ways to play. Like, cool, that sounds awesome. Show us all the new ways we're going to play. Showing us the event and then an adventure that's not new ways to play, guys. It's an adventure. I've played adventures. I've played all the adventures.
Yeah, me
That's
that
not
wasn't
a
really
new
an
way to
adventure.
play.
That wasn't
Right.
an adventure, dude. That was just going into the infinite forest and finding the beacon.
No, I mean, well, that's the thing, is that was an adventure. That's what they were doing. But my point being is, we've done adventures. That's not a new way to play. We've done public events. That's not a new way to play. Like, if
Show
you're
us
going to
the
show me
heroic shit.
if you're going to show me a new way to play, show me the heroic version of a strike. Show me a strike with modifiers. Show me a strike with strike specific gear. Show me even maybe the first room of the new raid. Like, you don't have to go into it. Just show me the first room of it. Show me something new that we haven't done before. Yes, I understand the Infinite Force is new, and it was really cool, and I'm looking forward to playing through it. But you entitled a stream New Way to Play, and you literally didn't show us any new ways to play this game.
I wasn't overwhelmed, and I wasn't underwhelmed. I was just whelmed.
You were just whelmed.
And not to quote Robin, but I was literally just whelmed. Like, I watched the stream and I was like, that was nice, and I'm done, and I'm gonna go
Who's
about
Robin?
the rest of my day. Robin from Young Justice, who said that.
I think let's be honest. First, that was 10 Things I Hate About You.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
I think that was
movie,
where.
so as far as I'm
That's a
concerned,
great
that's quoted by Robin in One Day Nightwing.
Yeah,
But
that's a great movie. You should watch it.
I was definitely whelmed, and I think, to me, like, you know, you're talking about, well, you didn't show us any new ways to play. Well, I disagree. I think that public event is not like other public events that we've seen, and I hope that other public events in the expansion are like that, and that's not the only one. Although they did make it sound like that was the only one that was like that.
And that's another thing. It's like,
but you know, heroic adventures are not a thing in the way that right now, in the way that the you know, planets are laid out is not like the way that, you know, Mercury is laid out. I mean, of course, I would have liked to see like other more exciting new ways to play that aren't modifications in the way that we're already playing, and I get that. But at the same time, like, they did kind of show us new ways to play, or new ways to play in a space that we already understand, and I didn't blow me away. It wasn't the best stream they've ever done, but it wasn't. I don't think it was horrible either. And I'm not that you guys think it's horrible.
I don't think it was horrible either, but I you know, to a point, I just can't agree that anything they showed was new. Yes, it's a brand new public event, and that's great, and it looked fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, it just wasn't. I don't know. They set such a precedence in the first stream, where they showed off all this really cool stuff. Yeah, because they showed off the first opening cutscene of Osiris and Segura, where we have a great idea of who Osiris and Segura are now. Mm-hmm. More so than, you know, somebody made a comment on YouTube or Reddit. It's like Osiris and Segura have more personality in a 1.5 minute trailer than any of the Vanguard do in the base Destiny 2 game, which I don't necessarily
I don't
agree with.
that.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I see their point because that trailer was very endearing. Like, I love Sagira, and I know her for a minute and a half.
Yep.
Successful sortie.
And that's great. That is a great thing to show us. And then they went into describing Osiris, and they gave us, and it's those little things that they gave us, especially the lore thing. It's like, oh, you see those bracers Osiris has on? Yeah, they have the Vex milk in them because he modified them. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like, that's really cool.
See, the first stream was fine too. I think the first stream whelmed me too, and I don't think that the second one is necessarily better. But I do kind of feel like, hey, the thing about the first one is that, yeah, it's cool. They talked about some of the lore stuff, and they showed off that cutscene. That cutscene that is probably the only cutscene like it in the campaign. And
I don't know about that.
If it's anything like other DLCs, then yes. Even Taken King, if you go back and watch it, it only had like 3 cutscenes in the entire thing.
Right, but also Destiny 1 had maybe how many cutscenes? 4 or 5.
Sure.
We got 50 in Destiny 2.
Sure. I'm not saying that there will be more, but I'm just saying there's like 5 missions in the game. I don't think that every mission's gonna have a cutscene. So we're gonna have
Curse of Osiris.
Right, 5, isn't there?
There's 8. There's 8.
Okay, 8. So there are 8
No,
of them.
11. I'm sorry, 11.
There are 11 story missions.
Yes. Yeah. If I remember Destin's review, there's 11.
11 story missions, and it's 5 hours. Anyway, we can talk about that later. Anyway, I just think that, like, I don't think that the first one did that thing that Bungie does, where it doesn't give us concrete answers about anything. Like, sure, they did, like, kind of clear up some stuff and give us some specific information. But to me, it wasn't like the same where it's like, hey, this is actually how you're going to be playing the DLC. I think the reason why I'm feeling so not necessarily defensive, but kind of defensive about this stream is that it set my expectations. It was one of those things where it's like, I know exactly what I'm walking into on this DLC, and anything more than what I've seen is a pleasant surprise.
Okay, I understand that. I get that.
It didn't leave as much up to the imagination, which sucks to some degree, but also, like, I'm kind of happy that I know what I'm buying now, as opposed to the first stream where it's like, oh, these are a lot of big ideas that I don't understand because Deej doesn't speak English.
I get that, but I get that. However, I don't. This is where I don't necessarily think it's developers' job to set our expectations.
Yeah,
I think it's the developers' job to deliver whatever it is they're going to deliver, and if we set we have to set our own expectations for whatever it is they're delivering.
Sure.
To an extent, I totally agree with you, especially since this is a game with service. That's where I agree. We need to have some sort of roadmap to this thing, but I don't need to know. I need to be able to set my own expectations because it's not Bungie's job to set my expectations for me.
Yeah, but I think that by running, here's the problem that we run into. Right, we're talking about this toxic community and how much it sucks, and a lot of that has to do with. You know, this was the argument that we had on Twin Stick Radio all the time when we were talking about Destiny 2. But ultimately, like, we didn't really know what we were buying. And what we ended up buying was kind of exactly what we should have expected to buy. But there was a certain level of mystery that surrounded Destiny 2. And so the community is now on the side of this game is awful and it sucks. Because they purchased a game not having realistic expectations about what it could be. You and I did, right? Because, you know, you and I had millions of conversations where it's like, they're going to do this amazing thing. Well, no, they probably won't because they haven't ever done that. And why would we expect that now? Yeah. And the thing about the Curse of Osiris thing is that when, I guess maybe it puts me on this, sad moral high ground where in 2 weeks when the Destiny subreddit is getting mad and I'm having a new conversation with someone else, I can say, this is exactly what they told us we were buying, on November 20th, 21st. We knew what this game was. So if you're mad that you didn't get your hopes and dreams, you obviously didn't pay attention to the marketing at all. And that's your own damn fault.
Yeah, but again, when it comes to entertainment media, when you pay money for it, you get what you get. Period. Movies, video games, TV, whatever it is. When you pay money for something in entertainment media, whatever you get is what you get. And
Yep.
if you can't be satisfied with that, then you don't need to be spending money on this in the first place. So like
Perfect
Justice League
example.
Justice
I
League
was
is a
about
great
to say that. I
Yeah,
was
Justice
about to
League is a-
fucking say that.
Justice League is a great example. There's tons of people that really enjoyed Justice League, but there's also a
love
ton of people that turn Twitter into freaking Fandango's review board on Twitter, and it's like, guys, I understand you didn't like it, but that's not. Sure, you can voice your opinion, but that's not anybody's fault. You just didn't like it. Like, too freaking bad. Suck it up, Buttercup, and get over it. It's the same. The same
Agreed.
thing goes with this. It's like, if you don't like this, it's because you set your expectations too high for whatever it is. When I was a kid, and we went to, so like birthday, right? I'm a kid. I'm, 7, 8 years old. My dad takes me to Walmart or Toys R Us. Actually, bet Toys R Us is a better example. My dad takes me to Toys R Us. Dude, I don't know. We don't know anything about the games that are out on the market. We just don't, because there's no way to get that out. There's just no way. So I go in there and I buy Final Fantasy VII. And this is, the timeline's wrong, but I'm just using it as an example. I buy Final Fantasy VII. I don't know what it's about, but I just paid $80 for it. And either I learn to like it, or that's $80 that's gone.
Yeah.
And you can't complain about it.
But
because
it's a little bit different though, because in the time that Final Fantasy VII came out, we didn't have access to information like we do now. And I think that there's something to be said about being an informed consumer. Like, that's what we talk about all the time, is that, like, you shouldn't buy a game on day one. You should wait for reviews, and you should wait to hear people talk about it. And you should, have an idea of what you're buying before you buy it, or else, like, that, what happens after that is kind of on you. If you didn't want to take the time to research something and to, be thoughtful about it, like, there's not much that anyone can do to make that better. You purchased it, that's your fault. And I think that what Bungie did was allow people to set their own expectations based off of what they were seeing, and walk into it knowing what they were buying without having to wait for Destin Legary or someone else to review it. And especially when you have this community that we've been talking about that is overly negative and that's not giving this game a chance. And you're letting someone else control the narrative of a game when there are people who like it just the way it is. I mean, we are those three people. So that I'm not saying it's their responsibility, but I'm all about gaming companies being more transparent with their consumers and allowing them to be more intelligent and more informed before they go and purchase a product. And whether or not it's their responsibility or anything is, it doesn't matter. I just like that that's a thing. That I know that when I drop $20 on Tuesday, it's worth it.
Yes, I do agree with you on that. But again, I don't think it's the developer's job to set our expectations for us. That's kind of the point I was trying to make. I don't think it's Bungie's job, because for all we know, dude, Bungie didn't have to do these streams.
Nope,
they just didn't. They didn't have to do it at all. But since they're doing it, since they are doing it, they're giving us an idea of what it is. Which that is them. That is them contributing to our expectations. Which I agree with you is good. They're doing that, but they don't have to.
No, and I'm not saying
I'm
not saying they have to either. But going back to the Justice League analogy, like, guess what? You should have known whether or not you would like Justice League, because Suicide Squad and Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman are all movies, and there are a lot of people that really hate those movies, and the people that hate those movies also probably hate Justice League. So you should have known walking into Justice League whether or not you would have liked it. It's just kind of how it is.
Yes, and the same thing goes here.
Well, and that's exactly my point, is now we know exactly what we're walking into. That information is out there, and it's out there from the main source. And whether or not saying it's their responsibility to do so, but it's out there. So now if you buy the game and you don't like it, guess what? That's on you, man. Like, that's your fault.
But even without the streams, at least in the Curse of Osiris, the DLC goes, even without the streams, you should still know what you're getting into. You're going to know whether or not you're going to like Curse of Osiris or not, just by playing the base game of Destiny.
Well, I don't know if that's the case.
If the streams didn't exist, you should still understand. And, just by, you say it all the time, look at Bungie's history. Like, just looking at Bungie's history, I mean, you can set your expectations for this game.
Sure.
You can.
And I
without a stream.
I think, too, though, like, I think on the other side of that, though, like there was still like this air of mystery around what exactly this DLC would do, because we have 3 different types of DLC that Bungie has made. We have our Dark Below and our House of Wolves, which are very much in one category. We have our Taken King, which is probably the highest category, and then we have Rise of Iron, which is kind of somewhere on the spectrum between Dark Below, House of Wolves, and Taken King. Like, it has more content than the 2 smaller DLCs, but it doesn't match in any way what Taken King did for the game. And I think that it made it very clear, like, hey, the DLC that we're making right now, the stuff that you should expect to come out, is kind of somewhere between that Dark Below and House of Wolves and Rise of Iron. It doesn't look like it's going to be as much as Rise of Iron, but not as little as Dark Below or House of Wolves. And I think it's interesting that, you know, now we kind of know, for better or for worse. You know, I could definitely see the argument about why that's not okay. But, you know, regardless of who's setting expectations where, like, it's nice that the information's out there, and whether or not it's a responsibility, like, I think they ultimately did the right thing. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I can kind of excuse this stream in a way that you guys can't, because it's like, it's fine, because I know what I'm buying now. And neither of them have blown me away, though.
Well, I also never said the stream was bad. I just said the stream was underwhelming.
Okay, underwhelming. Change out the word bad. Yeah,
like
underwhelming.
I think I can speak for Rich too. The stream wasn't bad. Or, I mean, Rich fell asleep in it. I don't think Bungie streams are ever bad. They didn't show us anything bad. They didn't piss me off with the stream. I was just underwhelmed with what I saw. If that that definitely contributes to what I'm expecting out of this. But it also contributes to and that's the thing, is like the streams are a double-edged sword, because it's like, yeah, they're showing people who understand how game development works and how this game evolves, and how the 3 of us understand how this game works and how it evolves, and we have an understanding enough of game development to understand that it takes 3 years to make a base game, and anything after that takes a crap ton of time. So if, as a Destiny player, if you're expecting, you know, Taken King after 3 months of a game being out, take it easy, guys. Like, you need to get your priorities straight here. Either that or do some research and understand that that's not going to happen. It's going to be at least a year before you see major changes in Destiny, because that's just how it works. It's how game development works.
I think in the end, that's what we ultimately need to take away from this conversation, is that this DLC was probably supposed to be launched a lot sooner if Destiny would have launched on time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, like I said, I think these streams are a double-edged sword. It gives people an idea of what they're going into, but it also is fuel for the Reddit rage.
Yeah, but hopefully
which really sucks for the community.
Well, I mean, we're in the same spot that Division was at launch, right? Like, Division got way better 6 months after launch, when the community left and the developers had time to actually listen to what people were saying and make adjustments. And I think Destiny is going to be in that same kind of vein. And that's the way Destiny 1 was as well. And that was the way Rise of Iron was. I mean, I wasn't on the subreddit complaining, but I'm sure the game got better when I wasn't on bitching in Rich's ear every night about how it wasn't what I wanted. So I think that, like, that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for the point where all of these people that are sitting there complaining go away and play something else, and the people that actually like the game can sit there and have constructive criticism and say, like, hey, you know, the way, like, you know, tonight, you know, if you listen to the beginning of this podcast and you're like, these guys are Bungie, this is the Bungie defense squad. No, I fucking called Bungie out for the way that they treat strikes. Like, I am not happy about that. But I'm not going to sit here and tear apart the game and say it's the worst game I've ever played and that I wasted my $60 on it.
Especially since we've all put over 100 hours into this game.
So, like, you can love something and you can be supportive of it and still have legitimate, you know, concerns and complaints about it.
Yeah, I'm actually really just excited to be able to go back to that subreddit and actually, like, see cool things in that subreddit.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, here's how Destiny can be fixed, or here's why Destiny's dead. It's like, okay, well, here we go again.
Yeah. Anyway, Rich, you want to close this out?
Yeah. If you like the show, you can always watch us live here, usually on Saturday nights around 9 p.m. twitch.tv/joystick-radio. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow Trey at Darth Trey. You can follow Chris at Shortchange Hero with an E instead of the 3 instead of an E in Hero. Follow me at Rich. Very confusing. You can follow me at Rich Needs Rez. No, it's not. If you want to join the clan, we are a PS4 clan, so sorry, PC motherfuckers.
PS4 Master Race, bitches.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I'm sick of this stupid frames. I'm gonna make that shirt.
Oh my
I'm gonna
gosh,
make a shirt
that should
now.
be our first Twin Stick Radio shirt. Or Twin Stick Guardian shirt.
Rich
Frames.
and I had, without getting off on too much of a tangent, Rich and I had this conversation the other day. It really does suck that like YouTubers that you follow for Destiny, they do gun reviews and you can't even look at the videos because it doesn't matter because they're talking about gun reviews on PC now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to start doing our own gun reviews, guys.
Yeah. If you want to listen to the guys podcast, just they're taking a little bit of time off right now, but they're streaming on Twitch on Thursdays, and all of their back episodes are on iTunes, Google.
But we're not streaming this Thursday because we'll be eating turkey and tamales and macaroni and cheese.
It's true.
So.
Oh yeah. That's it. I mean, if you want to listen to my podcast, you can go listen to it. It's called Read Between the Panels, but it's potatoes, so it's whatever.
Hopefully you guys will get to see a Grand Theft Auto stream sometime. That would be fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot
I'm
of
getting it
shenanigans
Friday,
yesterday when Chris and I
so-
were playing, and I would have loved if we had streamed that.
Trey tried to kill me a lot and it just failed.
No,
totally.
you were a bully. I wasn't trying to kill you. I mean, there were 2 times that I tried to kill you and you got me, but you were a bully. At one point, he
I was
picked up my
standing
car
there.
with a helicopter, and then he's like flying around. I'm like, and I told him, I was like, please don't blow up my car. I don't have to repair it or have to like buy another one. You know, I just want my car to exist. So he picks my car up with a helicopter. He flies over a bridge and then decides, hey, I'm gonna get on Twitter while I'm flying my car, and he like crashes my car into the bridge and drops it and completely wrecks it.
Like it was more than just a crash. So there's this bridge, and for some reason I get a notification on Twitter, so I pick up my phone and I'm looking at my phone and I'm not paying attention to the game in any way, shape, or form. But I let go of the gas of the helicopter, so I gradually started going down, and so I'm going down, and at the last second I realized, oh man, I got to hit the gas on the helicopter. So I put my phone down, I look at my screen, and the next thing I know, Trey's car is flying across a bridge. It's
That's right.
gosh, what just,
you knocked me on the bridge,
happened?
and my car just goes flying, and I'm like holding down on the gas because I don't know, like that was my first thought, and my car hits the ground and just takes off, but it can't turn right anymore.
It was pretty good.
Anyway, like it would be really fun to get like the 3 of us and maybe some other guys from the clan and stream some Destiny.
Yeah, it could.
Or some Grand Theft Auto.
I have a feeling it would be a lot like when me and Chris play Ghost Recon.
I have
Probably.
the feeling I would love to do a mission with you because I think you would drive Chris crazy.
He'd love to do a what?
Do a mission with us, like
Oh my
just one of
God.
the regular missions. Or my favorite thing to do in Grand Theft Auto is like when people act like idiots or jerks, like when the NPCs do, I shoot them. You know, I have a gun. They're being dicks, so I got to assert my dominance somehow, and that's how I do it. Chris gets so mad when I do because then cops follow us. And
I'm just trying to drive. I'm trying to get from point A to point B, and Trey kills a guy.
By
and the
accident.
cops are after us. It's like, my gosh.
I was just trying to teach
I'm
him a
gonna take
lesson,
this
but I
out.
accidentally hit him in the back of the head, and
That's fine.
All right,
All right.
guys. Well, thanks for listening. Everybody have a good night. Happy
You didn't
Thanksgiving.
say it, Rich.
Eat lots of food. Guardian down.
Say it. Yes.
bye.